When I first read National Love Is Kind Day, my brain went to the song Love Is Blindness, and the idea I had was I was going to start, going into that song, stop myself, pretend to talk to someone off camera who was, supposed to be telling me, no, it's kind, not blind, and it would be a good opening bit. I then read what the day was about and decided it wasn't appropriate. Because National Love Is Kind Day is all about the people who have gotten free from abuse, whatever sort of abusive relationship it is, and the idea that love isn't this, love isn't people manipulating, people people abusing. Like, oh god, I just had that thought. That's a terrifying thought. My brain just had the thought, can you imagine having like a naturally submissive perception and getting caught up in something like that and not realizing the difference? That is a terrifying, that's a haunting thought, actually. But yeah, I think the idea is people coming to the realization that, love as it is isn't, the manipulation. It's not the beating and stuff, beating or forcefulness or whatever form of abuse that emotional, psychological, whatever form of abuse it is. This is not it. Love is, kindness. It's caring. Yeah, again, submissive dom relationships may be a bit different, but there will always be some monicum of, and I'm using this word again, which fair because I guess because abusive parents are a thing as well, so it does tie in. I'm using the word respect again, because love is a lot of things, but if you love someone in any capacity, you should respect them. You should treat them, with a level of decency you'd expect them to treat you, and vice versa. Respect. Second time in 2 days that it's come up, but yeah, respect the people you care for, and just try and don't be a dick. It's like, it's rule number 2 on my list of rules. If I ever write a list of commandments, don't be a dick is number 2. And the first one's fuck what they think. Because you shouldn't let people influence, you shouldn't let people's negative comments and negative emotions influence your actions and opinions of yourself. And I think that's slightly more important than don't be a dick. At least from a, health standpoint. Ignore all the negative stuff is probably more important than having the negative people stop being negative. But it's a close second. That was the longest, I think, one of those I'm going to start with a day, then do the intro thing, because that was the plan, but we've already been recording for about 4 minutes now. I'm sure the video's not that long, but editing. We do have 3 other days for today, starting with, I'm just going to go down the list because it's easier. National Scotch Day. Yeah, whiskey's fine, whiskey's good. I wasn't about to go back. Again, the show hasn't got a budget. I can't just keep buying spirits as much as I want to. I would love to be, standing in the kitchen right now making various cocktails with scotch in it like I did with the aniseed thing. But I don't have the budget for this. Same like I would have liked that to do with tequila a few days ago. But again, I don't have the budget to keep up with this. Next up, National Creme Brulee Day, a day that I like. I like creme brulee a lot. I wasn't about to go and start trying to make it, because that shit ain't easy. Pretty much anything that requires a bain-marie, I'm immediately out. Is it bain-marie? Yeah, because you make them, you fill them with ramekins, you put the ramekins and you have to do it in water, right? You have to do that for creme brulee? Am I thinking, I know you have to do that for, I think you have to do that for souffle as well, or at least to some degree. I think you do that for... Point is that was far too much effort for me. And any other variant I would have bought would have just been, well, I put the sugar on and I don't have a blowtorch, I want the grill. Like, I wish I had a blowtorch as well, but that's a completely, like, I don't have an absolute need for blowtorch, because that's pretty much the only time I'd use it. That and blistering peppers, because I really like getting a good char on a sweet pepper. Oh, that's good, but that's like the two things I'd use it for. And I'm not doing that over an open flame. God, I'm not like with tongs and yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I will hurt somewhat on. I have such a track record of burning myself. That is not going to end well. I'm not doing that. And finally, National New Jersey Day. Or New Jersey. Sure, that's going to get some people angry in the comments at some point. If you know, I've actually started getting an audience. God, this would be a weird one to blow up now I think about it. Not only the way I started, but also the New Jersey thing. Be a weird one to be the one that starts growing an audience, but hey, I'm not going to complain as long as I get to start growing the audience. Kind of need it to do other stuff. It's the whole point I'm doing this series. That and I thought it would be interesting. Jury's out on whether or not I find it. I agree with the sentiment of this being interesting. I think it would have been more interesting if, you know, I had people and a budget, but I don't really have access to either of those things. Anyway, point is it is National New Jersey Day, and I still don't know why we're doing this. I still don't know why we have the whole state day things. I'm still going on the assumption that they're the day the state was founded, and I still don't care, and I still think no one should care, even if you're from the state, because it doesn't fucking matter. It's such a waste of time. I hate that I have to keep saying it. I knew going into it that this was going to be a thing, and that I was going to do this, partially as a running gag, and partially because it's such a waste of time. It's such a waste of space, even. Like, yeah. I knew I was going to do this going into the series, because I did have some idea of things that was going to happen in the series, and the state joke was in it, but because I knew it was going to get tiresome. I knew it was going to get tiresome, which is why I thought, oh, I'll do that. I don't get why we're fucking doing this as a running gag, but honestly, it's slowly becoming less of me doing it for the running gag and me actually just getting annoyed because of the repetition of this, because there's a lot of states. I don't know if you've noticed, but you've got a lot of the fuckers, and this is such a waste of my time. I will say this though, the only time I'm going to redo this, the only instance in which I would consider redoing the series is if I go the complete opposite end of the scale when it comes to budget. This show is no budget currently, basically. If I could go to, this show has a ludicrous budget, I would do this series again. That's the only case, because I would need a ludicrous budget to make doing this again worth it. And I wouldn't do this for every state day. I definitely would do it for Hawaii, but I wouldn't do it for every state day, but I'd love the idea of just going there just for the day. Like, it's a complete waste of my time, because flying to America is 5 hours, and that's to Florida, which is close. In fact, I'll go on further. That's going to New Jersey, which is even closer, because then you don't have to go down, you're just going across. It's going to be a lot of time spent in the air. And if they're close together like this, it's going to mean a whole bunch of stuff. To be fair, I could plan, if I had the time to plan it, which I probably would if I have that much of a budget that I'm going, I can warrant doing this again. I might as well start planning it. I would plan it out extensively. Because I've mentioned before how I have a plan month to month. I semi-plan month to month and plan a bit more aggressively week to week. That's the majority of my planning for this. Problem is, most of the time I go to an idea and go, yeah, but I don't have the money for that, or because of quarantine and everything that's going on, I go, yeah, but I can't get people for that. Because if I did have that massive fuck-off budget that I'd need to warrant doing this again, I would have to plan flights. I would have to plan everything. Because there would be no day I would refuse to do any days that were just me talking to the camera. That defeats the object. That's the reason why I would need a large budget to warrant do this again. because though every single day would still me be covering all the days, for every day there must be at least one day that I go and do something. And so yeah, fair, maybe that means that in that instance, that day isn't me going to New Jersey for that. Maybe today would be, actually doing that. I have the money to buy a lot of alcohol now. I can not only do the making a bunch of cocktails with the Scotch thing, but I can do that on a much bigger and better scale, and I can get people around to try the cocktails with me, and make a whole thing out of it. Or we can make creme brulee, or even one step further, combine the two, make Scotch creme brulee, which I'd imagine there's a thing you can do. I don't think maybe the alcohol causes some issue with some part of the process, but I don't know. Point is, yeah, I like the idea of doing this again with a big budget, but that's not happening. And the point is, this show has no budget, unfortunately. However, with that being said, if you do like what I'm trying to do, or at least the conversations I try and bring up and I try and have, and I am always open to conversation if you want to go talk. There is a thing down there. There's the comic box down there, and there's also my Twitter down there, both of which are pretty good ways of starting conversations, especially if you want to start a conversation with me on Twitter. But do subscribe, join the broken flock, the allegiance of the people all over the world that agree that the world probably needs to be a better place. At least, that's what I want my audience to be. Because our motto here is to change the world. If you are not caught up on the playlist, we are very deep in, but please, 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 there's always a link at the end of every video in the playlist to the playlist. Go catch up with the playlist. Or watch the whole thing if you're somehow watching this post-2020. Also, hi, remember how fucking awful 2020 was? God, I hope things are better next year and this doesn't age like fine milk. I shudder at the thought of a year being worse than this one. But that being said, do embrace the chaos. It's more fun. Let yourself go a little. I mean, yeah, no, lockdown may be coming slowly. Slowly as physically possible, but it is slowly coming to an end. But it's still mostly in place. Places are still empty. You probably can get away with a little more than you normally can. And even if it's not something like that, now would be an interesting time to let yourself go and maybe try and push yourself into doing something that you've thought about but not had the opportunity, or not had like the confidence, or not been able to push yourself into do before. Now would be a good opportunity to do that, and I paste all of that under the embrace chaos sort of mantra, because I like chaos is not as messy as people think it is. As God of Chaos, I should know. Like, you can have ordered chaos. You can have everything in its place, but like, my room is seemingly a mess. Everything has its place. Everything has an order to it. It's a messy order, but it's an order. It's haphazard. Like, it's done on whim, but I don't forget things. Like, I know where things are. I know how to find things. Because they're just put in places, but they're put in places that feel right more than seem right. A lot of people say it's neat. That's mostly just because there's this big open space here, and that's mostly there for VR. But the bits where there is stuff is a mess. But it's a controlled mess. Then again, when it comes to some people, that's enough to be neat. And I think I've made that point well enough. I made another similar point about it yesterday. I'm trying to talk more up the Embrace Chaos thing, because I've not had I've had episodes where I've gone into depth about the Change the World thing. I've had episodes that have gone into depth about the subscribing thing, and combining those, I've gone into depth. That's why I'm trying to build an audience. I haven't gone too much into depth as to why the Embrace Chaos thing is there. It's not just because it's on brand. It's also because it's, all of the things I say at the end, or at least the Embrace Chaos, Change the World, that is a mantra, basically. And they have their purposes, and I've talked about how the Embracing Chaos can be a tool for changing the world, but there are other reasons for it as well. But yeah, I feel like I should talk it up more, because I know it's kind of an innocuous statement, so maybe I feel like it needs a bit more explanation. and, you know, because again, I've explained everything else a bit more, but not that one. I'm going to start going on because I think I'm going in circles a little. I'm not sure. All of these videos all sort of blur into one even after when I'm editing them, and even after I've edited them. And also because the video's getting a little long. I think the past couple of days have been a little long because I've been getting kind of rambly. I mean, yesterday I tried to go quick, and the video still ended up being over 10 minutes because I just started rambling about stuff. So, but yeah, that all being said, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Thank you for watching to the end if you're seeing this. I will see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Stay tuned.